Imagine a world without refrigerators, no freezers to store dinner leftovers, or chilled drinks on a hot summer day. In such a world, food preservation depends solely on time, experience, and tried-and-true traditions. For most of us, this seems like a scenario from the past, but for the Amish, it's an everyday reality. Why it matters. Refrigerators are one of the foundations of our modern comfort, and we rarely think about what it would be like to do without them. The Amish, on the other hand, find ways to keep food fresh using only natural resources and knowledge passed down through generations. Their methods are surprising not only for their effectiveness, but also for their connection to nature. Today, we will delve into the fascinating world of the Amish and their tradition of preserving meat without modern technology. Together, we'll learn how these practices work, what makes them so unique, and why they remain relevant even in the 21st century. We'll also talk about the values and beliefs that underlie these practices and consider what lessons we can learn from their way of life. So stay tuned, hit like, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss exciting stories and useful tips. Now let's get started on this exciting journey. The Amish are a religious community known for their unique lifestyle that combines simplicity, hard work, and a complete rejection of modern conveniences. Their history dates back to 17th century Europe, when a small group of Anabaptists, seeking a stricter adherence to Christian principles, separated from the mainstream Mennonites. Under the leadership of Jacob Ammon, they formed a community that later became known as the Amish. After experiencing persecution in their homeland, they emigrated to North America, where they found refuge in quiet rural areas. Today, most Amish live in states such as Pennsylvania, Ohio, and Indiana, creating isolated and tight-knit communities. Amish life is based on religious beliefs that technology and excesses distract people from the spiritual path. Their rejection of electricity, automobiles, and other modern conveniences helps them focus on the core values of humility, work, and living in harmony with nature. Their rejection of refrigerators is not just a tradition, but a conscious choice deeply connected to their philosophy. For the Amish, it is important to maintain a sense of dependence on God and community, avoiding the individualism they believe technological advances bring with them. This approach permeates all aspects of their lives, including food preparation and preservation. Interestingly, for the Amish, food preservation goes beyond mere necessity. It is a cultural and spiritual process that unites them with nature and each other. Their deep respect for the world around them is evident in every technique they use. For example, the process of salting meat not only saves food from spoiling, but also reminds them of the value of human labor, patience, and skill. Amish life may seem archaic to us, but it presents a unique perspective on how to live without the constant pursuit of comfort. Now let's dive into their meat preservation methods to understand how tradition becomes a bridge between the past and the present. The Amish use time-honored techniques to keep meat fresh and safe to eat without the use of refrigerators. These techniques, based on natural processes and a deep knowledge of the properties of foods, are surprisingly effective and elegant. Salting is perhaps the oldest and most reliable way to preserve meat. The Amish use coarse salt, which as it penetrates the meat, draws out moisture, creating an unfavorable environment for bacteria. The process begins with thoroughly deboning the meat to remove excess fat and films. The meat is then coated liberally with salt, often adding spices such as pepper, coriander, or cloves to enhance flavor and provide additional protection. The meat is then left in a cool, dry place for several weeks, allowing the salt to penetrate deeply into the tissues. Salting is especially popular for preparing products such as ham, bacon, and sausage. Every movement in this process is time-honored, and the result is meat that can be stored for months without danger of spoilage. Smoking is another popular method. For this purpose, the Amish build special smokehouses where meat is exposed to low temperatures and smoke. It is important which wood material is used. For example, hickory gives the meat a rich, deep flavor, while apple or cherry adds subtle fruity notes. The smoking process can take several days, during which time the meat is periodically turned and checked. The result is a product with a unique flavor and a long shelf life. Smoking is often used for pork, fish, and even poultry. Drying or cooking jerky is a technique that allows the Amish to create a light and nutritious product suitable for long-term storage. Thin strips of meat are thoroughly seasoned with a mixture of salt and spices. The meat is then dried in the sun, in the wind, or in special drying racks until it loses moisture completely. This method is convenient because the finished product is compact, easy to transport, and can be stored without special conditions. Dried meat is often used as a snack when traveling or during fieldwork. Although traditional, the Amish have successfully utilized canning, a more modern method of preserving food. The meat is cooked, placed in sterilized glass jars, and poured with hot broth. The jars are then hermetically sealed and heat treated to kill all bacteria. This method requires a high degree of precision, but makes it possible to preserve meat for years without losing its nutritional value. Fermentation, or sourdough, relies on the work of natural bacteria to create an acidic environment that protects the product from spoilage. Favorite Amish foods, such as salami or summer sausages, are created this way. The process begins with the addition of natural enzymes and spices, after which the meat is left at a certain temperature to mature. This method not only preserves the meat, but also gives it a distinctive, rich flavor that becomes the trademark of fermented foods. These techniques are not just ways to preserve food. They reflect the Amish philosophy of patience and respect for nature. Which method surprised you the most? Write about it in the comments. For the Amish, the process of meat preservation is not just a practical necessity, but an important social event. In their culture, almost every task that requires significant effort is turned into a collective endeavor that strengthens family and community ties. When temperatures help slow the spoilage of food, it's time for the traditional slaughter of livestock. This is a large-scale event that involves several families at once. Men usually slaughter and cut carcasses, while women prepare spices, sterilize canning equipment, or lay out meat for drying. Families pool their supplies of salt, spices, and equipment to reduce costs and increase efficiency. These events take several days and are accompanied by camaraderie, meals together, and even prayer, making the process not only productive, but also spiritually fulfilling. The Amish are known for their ability to share common resources. This applies to meat preservation as well. Many villages have dedicated smokehouses that can be used by several families at once. This reduces the cost of building and maintaining such facilities. Special barns with good ventilation, which are also owned by the community, are used to prepare jerky or dry fish. Sharing equipment saves time, effort, and resources, which is especially important for Amish traditionalists. An important part of keeping traditions alive is learning. Older members of the community share their experiences with younger people. During collective work, children and teenagers learn various techniques, from the correct application of salt to adjusting the temperature in the smokehouse. Elders often share stories of how similar processes were conducted by their ancestors, adding elements of culture and history to experiential learning. This process helps to maintain not only skills, but also a sense of belonging to the community and its traditions. Collective meat preservation is often accompanied by elements of celebration. After work is completed, families gather around a large table to enjoy the fruits of their labor together. This is a time for sharing stories, strengthening friendships, and expressing gratitude. Sometimes surplus cooked meat is offered for sale in local markets, which becomes part of the economic life of the community. These events emphasize the importance of unity, mutual aid, and teamwork in Amish life. The collective approach to meat preservation shows how important human interconnectedness is to the Amish. It is not just a task, but an opportunity to show concern for one's neighbor and pass on a legacy to future generations. Although the Amish remain committed to a traditional lifestyle and avoid most modern technology, several interesting adaptations can be seen in their food preservation practices that help improve the effectiveness of their methods without compromising their religious beliefs. In some Amish communities, it is common to use propane devices or solar panels to facilitate meat preservation, especially during the summer when traditional methods require more effort. Although most Amish refuse electricity, propane refrigerators that run on gas do not violate their basic principles because they do not use grid electricity. This keeps meat relatively fresh, especially during periods when temperatures rise too high for traditional methods. Some communities install solar panels to power individual appliances, such as solar meat dryers or lighting in communal smokehouses. This solution harmonizes with their lifestyle because it utilizes environmentally friendly resources. These adaptations are a compromise between a commitment to tradition and the need for greater efficiency in food storage. Despite a general rejection of technology, the Amish sometimes combine traditional methods with modern tools if it helps improve the outcome or simplify the process. For example, the Amish can use solar dryers to dry meat, which speeds up the process considerably. Whereas previously they relied solely on the sun and wind, it is now possible to control the temperature and humidity, which preserves the higher quality of the meat. Some families use pressure cookers or autoclaves to preserve meat. These devices make it possible to guarantee sterility at lower temperatures and in a shorter time, which is especially important for food safety. Such improvements, however, do not contradict the basic philosophy of the Amish. They do not use electrical appliances or the latest technology that might lead to dependence on the outside world. In some regions, the Amish are beginning to collaborate with neighbors outside their communities to gain access to the modern technology needed to store food efficiently. For example, during peak seasons, when large quantities of meat need to be preserved quickly, the Amish can make arrangements with neighboring farmers to use their cold rooms, while maintaining their independence from modern technology. Some Amish communities team up with neighboring farmers to purchase equipment that they can share. This allows them to access technology such as meat grinders that can greatly speed up processing. However, such adaptations do not include the use of devices that would violate their religious principles, such as machines operated entirely through the electrical grid. Despite their commitment to tradition, the Amish are not afraid to use some modern technology if it helps to improve their lives and preserve traditional methods. These adaptations are an example of how they can integrate new ideas while remaining true to their core beliefs. Amish meat preservation methods are more than just a way to provide food for the family for the long winter months. They are an important part of their philosophy of life, in which hard work, patience, and respect for nature come first. These techniques, passed down from generation to generation, serve not only to preserve food, but also to strengthen bonds within the community and foster respect for working life. Each method, whether salting, smoking, drying, or fermenting, carries deep meaning and reflects a unique Amish view of the world. For them, preserving meat is not just a practical task, but a spiritual practice, a symbol of mutual aid, patriotism, and respect for labor traditions. It is a way to live in harmony with nature, and a reminder that true value lies not in the number of comforts, but in the connection to the world around us. Modern adaptations, such as the use of solar panels or propane refrigerators, show how the Amish are able to maintain a balance between tradition and innovation. It is important to note that they carefully select technologies that align with their values and do not compromise their spiritual principles. The Amish world is one where simplicity and hard work are intertwined with deep spiritual convictions. This way of life reminds us that, in our desire for convenience, we often forget the importance of labor and mutual aid, and the true value of nature. What do you think of the Amish way of life? Could you imagine yourself living without a refrigerator and other modern conveniences? Share your thoughts in the comments and don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on our new and exciting stories. See you in the next video.